In the spotlight of the stage and the camera, the appearance of celebrities is always the center of attention. But behind those perfect faces lies a silent world of pressure, expectations, and sacrifices. This is especially true for Black artists, who not only have to shine, but also fight against double standards regarding beauty, age, and identity. In today's video, we will explore the famous Black faces, from music icons, movie stars, to television legends, who have quietly undergone cosmetic procedures that the public is mostly unaware of. They change not because of a lack of confidence, but because they are caught up in an industry that always demands youth and absolute perfection. This is not just a story about cosmetic surgery. This is a story about fame, pressure, hurt, and the desire to be oneself. Are you ready to embark on the journey of facing the truth behind the spotlight? Have you ever doubted if any of them have had cosmetic surgery? If so, leave a 1 in the comments. If not, comment 0. Let's discuss how many changed faces you recognize that you never noticed. Michael Jackson was not only a great music icon, but also a heartbreaking testament to the price of fame. Born with brown skin and a radiant smile, Michael was once the embodiment of undeniable talent and charm. However, over the years, that face underwent constant transformation, from increasingly lighter skin to sharp eyes, leading people to wonder who is the real Michael. An accident during a dance performance opened the door to a series of cosmetic surgeries, but the deeper cause lies in psychological trauma. A close friend once shared that he never wanted anyone to see his face without makeup, as if it were not worthy enough to be seen in public. Is he afraid of being judged, or does he simply long to be loved in a way that society will accept? The media constantly mocked him, calling him a monster, spreading rumors that he hated his own race. But few knew the deep pain, a stolen childhood, the heavy expectations from family and the entertainment industry. "I never had a childhood. I only had expectations," Michael once revealed. When the stage lights go out, he stands there alone with timeless hits and a face that no longer belongs to the boy of years past. Does he have regrets? No one knows for sure. But in songs like Man in the Mirror, we see the truest Michael, a fragile soul yearning to be understood and loved. Melba Moore, the Tony Award-winning Broadway artist, possesses a soulful and powerful voice. However, the spotlight of the stage cannot erase the scars from prejudice. When she was young, she was rejected for a television role simply because her face was not suitable for national broadcast. That statement cut deep into the soul of the young artist. A week later, Melba returned with a new, more refined nose that was more suitable. Not surprisingly, she was immediately cast in a role, and her career soared from there. But behind the scenes, Melba couldn't hide her sorrow. A friend once recounted that she would often sit quietly in the dressing room, touching her new nose and sighing, "I wish I didn't have to change to be myself." Fans feel that she has become distant, not because her personality has changed, but because they no longer see the gaze of the woman who once sang, as if recounting her life. When asked about beauty, Melba once said, "True beauty is when you don't need permission to be yourself." Perhaps she has chosen the right path to survive in that harsh world. But in the hearts of her fans, there remains a sense of regret for an original face that never had to compromise. Billy Preston. The Hammond knows how to speak, is the soul of funk and soul in the 20th century. He once worked with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, leaving an indelible mark on the history of music. However, a serious car accident in 1972 nearly took his life and robbed him of the face that the whole world once adored. When he returned to the stage, Billy was no longer the youthful artist he once was. His face was somewhat disfigured, bearing clear signs of reconstructive surgeries. Although the organ playing is still passionate and his soul is filled with music, one cannot help but notice the change. It is not just a change in appearance, but also the invisible distance between the artist and the audience, between the past and the present. Billy rarely shares about that pain, but friends say he has become quieter and less publicly visible. Perhaps he is also struggling to reconcile with a new image, a survivor, but at the cost of some of his artistic identity. Before the accident, Billy Preston was a street artist with curly hair, a mischievous smile, and wild eyes. He was the living soul of funk soul, fiery, free-spirited, and approachable. But after the accident in Los Angeles, he disappeared from the public eye for nearly a year. When he returned to the stage in 1973, the audience was stunned, sunken cheeks, a sharp jawline, a delicate nose, a completely different face. Fans were bewildered. Was the accident that serious? Has Billy chosen to change himself? A lighting technician recalls the moment he sat quietly in front of the mirror backstage and joked, "They say this new face sells better, but the old face is mine." A black journalist in Chicago once wrote, "Billy Preston not only survived the accident, he transformed into a polished artist to please white audiences. Although he has never confirmed any cosmetic surgery, the change is undeniable." Is it reconstructive surgery or a business decision? No one knows. The answer lies in his grave, where no one asks about the nose anymore. Only the sound of the Hammond organ continues to echo like the silent cries of a generation surviving in silence. Billy left behind a lesson. An artist is not just a musician, but also someone who must struggle daily with their own image. If there is anyone who has captivated and confused the audience within just a few years of their career, it is Miki Howard. Her voice, smooth, feminine, yet powerful, has touched the hearts of thousands. However, her face has continuously changed. In the early 1980s, Miki was a brown-skinned girl with soft features, a round chin, and dreamy eyes. By 1986, in the music video for Come Share My Love, she appeared with sharp eyes, a surprisingly pointed chin, and a cooler demeanor. Rumors began to circulate. Miki has had chin surgery and eyelid lifts. A makeup artist who has worked with her said Miki's face is so beautiful, we even don't know how to do her makeup anymore. But that beauty no longer carries a sense of gentleness. It has become sharp. Not because she wants it to be, but because the music industry demands it. A journalist writes, "She is still beautiful, but I miss the original beauty. The beauty that made people believe she didn't need to change anything to be worthy." Miki has never publicly spoken about surgery, but in the biographical film about her life, she has a poignant line, "I used to want to be beautiful, to the point that no one could deny it. Now I just wish to sit quietly in a room and still be accepted." The face may change, but in the haunting ballads, the audience still finds the image of the brown-skinned girl from long ago, someone who never needed to embellish herself to be loved. In the 1970s, Clifton Davis was a symbol of black television. With his handsome face and warm smile, he was likened to an angel of the small screen. Not only was he an actor, but he was also a musician behind the success of the Jackson 5. However, behind that perfection was a person who always felt he was not attractive enough. Born in Chicago to a traditional family, Clifton grew up with insecurities about his appearance. In a rare interview in 1992, he shared that he was teased for his long chin and crooked teeth. When he arrived in Hollywood, that anxiety grew even stronger. A producer once bluntly said, "You have talent, but your face isn't perfect." In 1974, Clifton disappeared from the screen for 6 months. When he returned, his chin was more defined, his teeth were straight, and his smile had become sharper. He never admitted to having surgery, but those in the industry believed it. A colleague recalled Clifton often stared at the mirror as if trying to get used to a strange face. The audience's reactions were very different. Some praised him for looking younger, but others said, "I miss his old crooked smile. That was the real him." Later, Clifton shifted his focus to charity work and ministry, as if he were searching for something deeper than appearances. The new face helped him go further, but it could not replace the original warmth, the quality that the audience always remembers when they think of him. Freda Payne is a singer who touches the very soul of her listeners with her hit Band of Gold. Not only does she possess an emotional voice, but she also has deep brown eyes and an unmistakable classic beauty. However, few know that behind the stage lights, Freda once lived with insecurities due to hereditary wrinkles on her neck. Growing up in poverty in Detroit, she was advised by directors to wear scarves, avoid close-ups of her neck, and always keep her head straight. "A true diva cannot let her neck betray her youth," someone in the industry once said. This became an obsession for Freda. Then, one day in 1978, after a vacation in Palm Springs, she returned no longer wearing a scarf, no longer avoiding attention. Under the stage lights, Freda's neck was smooth and youthful, as if it had never borne the marks of time. It was a clear sign of cosmetic intervention. For the first time, she wore a deep-cut dress, walking confidently, as if to declare, "I no longer have to hide myself." No public statement, no confirmation. But that liberation, however small, resonated. Freda showed that sometimes changing one's appearance is not to please the world, but to reclaim oneself. Although she has never admitted it, this change is seen as a liberation of her image. However, the reaction has not been entirely positive. A veteran critic wrote, "Freda is now a sculpted beauty, but I miss those wrinkles. They used to tell the story of a woman who endured yet still sang." After that, she appeared in public less frequently. Some say she has become distant, but those close to her know that Freda is still Freda. She has just chosen to be quieter. Looking back on today, it is undeniable that her appearance has changed. But what the audience remembers is her courage as a woman who dares to reclaim her body from the hands of prejudice. And if there is any message, it is perhaps this: sometimes we have to change to survive, but never forget to keep the soul that never needs to change. Do you agree with using these beauty methods? If so, leave a comment with the number 2. If not, leave a comment with the number 5. Carne was once dubbed the woman who never ages. Since the 1970s, she has been an icon of jazz soul, a vibrant, improvisational, and emotional voice. But what truly astonished the audience was not just the music, but also her seemingly unchanging appearance over the decades. When Jean turned 40, while her contemporaries gradually stepped away from the spotlight, she continued to appear regularly on television with smooth skin and a radiant beauty reminiscent of her 20s. Although no one said it out loud, the audience began to wonder, how can she maintain such youthful looks? A cosmetic surgeon in Atlanta later revealed that Jean had undergone a nose job, not to change her appearance but to preserve her original features. The surgery was performed discreetly, quietly, just like the way she lived. A close colleague recounted, Jean never talked about her age. But once the afternoon light shone on her nose, and I heard her whisper, "I'm afraid that one day I will no longer be myself." This change did not stem from a desire for attention, but from a fear of being forgotten. She was not trying to become someone else. She just wanted to hold on to the admiring gaze from the audience of years past. A journalist once wrote, "Jean is the only person I know who can preserve both youth and loneliness in one face." When singing her final song, Jean often closes her eyes and whispers as if to herself, "Don't let it make you complacent." Her beauty lies not only in her skin or her nose, but in the courage to preserve a part of her past, not because she does not accept her age, but because she wants to be sure that the audience will remember her as a symbol and as a woman who knows how to face time with both love and fear. Millie Jackson is the most fierce and outspoken voice in the wave of black artists in the 1970s. With her powerful, sensual, and unrestrained voice, she captivates audiences not with gentleness, but with impact. However, this rebellion, while praised by fans, has made her a target for conservative media. The white press continuously criticizes her too over the top, too masculine, too edgy to be a diva. The pressure from those comments weighed more heavily on Millie than any scandal. Although she claimed not to care, she understood how ruthless this industry could be towards women who do not conform to standards. By the mid-1980s, audiences began to notice a change. Her face looked different. High cheekbones, a sharp chin, a pronounced jawline, and her expressions became colder. A stylist who had worked with her during the recording of the album, Hot, Wild, and Unrestricted, shared the first time I saw her again. After a few years, I thought I had entered the wrong room. I barely recognized Millie. The controversial change in appearance has sparked intense debate. Those who once admired her defiant style are now questioning, why would someone like Millie, who once dared to say what no one else would, choose to conform through surgery? Some believe it is a sign of weakness, but those who understand her know that Millie did not change to resemble anyone. She changed because she was exhausted from fighting against an unrelenting prejudice. Millie has never confirmed any cosmetic procedures. But after a performance in 1987, she told the audience, "They want me to be softer, they want me to be slimmer, but they don't know. I used to take pride in my face, until they made me feel ashamed of it." She may have changed her appearance, but Millie's voice, anger, and strength in every lyric remain intact. And that is the true Millie. Even if her face has changed, that rebellious heart will never be altered. Others believe that she just wants to control everything, including her face, but everyone feels disappointed. A longtime fan shed tears while saying, "I love Millie when she smiled with that rough, fierce face. Now she's prettier, but she's no longer the Millie I knew." Millie has never spoken about the surgery. She continues to sing, perform, and rebel. But her face remains a question mark, a testament to the price of fame in a world that does not accept the true beauty of black people. Her story reflects injustice, showing that even the most rebellious sometimes falter before beauty standards that are not meant for them. And that is worth pondering. Phyllis Hyman has a voice that is too beautiful, too powerful, and too sad to be forgotten. She possesses a regal appearance, storytelling eyes, and a loneliness that permeates every song. But it is those very eyes where people first notice the change. Phyllis was rejected by producers for looking too sad, not fitting the vibrant pop music market. A former assistant at Arista recalls, "They told her, 'Do something with your eyelids. You look like you've been crying your whole life.'" A few months later, audiences saw Phyllis on television with a new look, her eyes big and sparkling, but lacking the depth that had once haunted them. She has never admitted to having surgery, but a close friend of hers recalled. Phyllis told me that the doctor only made a few adjustments to make her look happier, but afterward she felt like she was wearing a mask. That small change quickly led to suspicion. The audience said she looked strange and distant. A critic remarked, "She still sings beautifully, but her face no longer matches the pain in the songs." And that made Phyllis feel even more alone. She once wrote in her diary, "I don't know who I am when the lights go out." In 1995, Phyllis took her own life at the age of 45, leaving behind a remarkable musical legacy, but also raising questions about the price of always having to appear perfect. Her eyes still appear in old videos, but they are no longer the same. They are a testament to a silent struggle where a black artist must choose between being true to herself and pleasing the gaze of others. This is the tragedy of the entertainment industry, where real tears have never been fully accepted. Vesta Williams is a testament to a silent struggle where a black artist must choose between being true to herself and pleasing the gaze of others. She possessed a powerful voice that could give listeners goosebumps from the very first note, a rare talent often compared to Whitney Houston. However, despite her undeniable talent, Vesta did not receive the support she deserved. Her appearance was deemed too large, too real, and too somber to fit into an industry that values a polished and unrealistic image. By the end of the 1980s, the public was astonished to see a completely different Vesta on the cover of the album Vesta 4. You-sculpted cheekbones, sharper eyes, and a smaller chin. Many fans wrote letters asking, "What have you done to your face?" A stylist who had worked with her recalled that Vesta just wanted to look sleeker, more suitable for television. This change helped her gain attention again, but it also left the audience feeling disappointed. A journalist commented, "Vesta now looks like a copy of herself." A friend revealed that Vesta once admitted to undergoing surgery and taking drugs just to feel entitled to exist in the entertainment industry. Although she continued to sing, her image was always associated with transformation, as if she were trying to become someone else. It was only after her death in 2011 that people began to reflect on what she had sacrificed, not because of scandal, but due to the cost of being present in Hollywood. Vesta once said, "Black people are never allowed to be old, chubby, or realistic. I just want to exist." That is a legacy stronger than any song she ever performed. If these stories move you, please leave a like to support the team behind them. Don't forget to share the video with your friends to spread these untold truths together. And if you want to continue following the video, which preserves and recounts the most authentic slices of time, please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. Donnie Simpson was once a beloved public figure, the host of Video Soul, with a radiant smile, warm eyes, and an engaging demeanor. He was a friendly icon of black television in the 1980s. However, fame also comes with expectations to always be radiant, never tired, and not allowed to age. Around 1996, some observant viewers began to notice something different about Donnie: higher eyelids, a sharper jawline, and a face that had changed in an inexplicable way. Although Donnie has never publicly acknowledged it, rumors about eyelid lifts and jaw surgery have spread quickly. A colleague recounted, "One day Donnie walked onto the set and everyone stepped back. That smile looked as if it were glued to his face." The audience began to react. One commenter said, "I used to see Donnie as a trustworthy friend. Now I don't know who I'm looking at anymore." Gradually, he withdrew from the spotlight, appearing less frequently and rarely sharing about himself. In a rare moment of openness, Donnie said, "I used to believe that if I looked good enough, I would be kept around longer. The change helped him continue his hosting career, but at the same time it turned him into a distant version of himself. His smile no longer warm, his words lacking intimacy. The question, "Do you regret it?" still quietly echoes in the hearts of fans. Although he chose a different path, Donnie remains a memory of a time of authentic, emotional, and deeply human television. Patti LaBelle is an irreplaceable voice, an icon, a warrior on stage and in life. However, as she approached 50, the limits of her humanity became evident under the stage lights, especially in her eyes. Patti has publicly stated that she underwent eyelid surgery to improve her vision. However, after the surgery, rumors began to circulate. Some people said that her face was no longer the same, that the tired look that once made her seem authentic had disappeared. A dancer who once toured with Patti recalled, "People were whispering that she looked like a different person. She was no longer the Patti who made them cry on stage." Although her new face was youthful and sharper, a part of the memory that the audience cherished seemed to be gone. At a press conference, when asked, "How do you feel about no longer being yourself?" Patti just laughed loudly without answering. That silence only fueled further doubt and regret. The public is divided. Some believe she has the right to change to feel better about herself. But others exclaim, "I remember her gaze from 1978. It touched my heart." Does Patti have regrets? Perhaps no one knows. But what is clear is that true beauty does not lie in the eyelids, but in the memories and emotions that those eyes once evoked. Patti remains herself, but in the hearts of the audience, there is still a sense of longing for something that has been lost. Jermaine Jackson, a soul music icon with a handsome appearance, a deep voice, and a calm demeanor, was once the embodiment of masculinity during the peak of the Jackson family. However, over time, his face has changed in ways that are hard to understand. His nose has become smaller, his skin lighter, and his jawline more defined, leaving many feeling unfamiliar. It is unclear whether this is due to aging or cosmetic intervention. All that is known is that the familiarity has gradually faded away. A fan shared, "I met Jermaine in person in 1999. I'm not sure it was him. There was something cold and strange in his eyes." Although he has never admitted it, the media continues to raise questions. A cosmetic surgeon once analyzed that there are signs of nose surgery, jaw work, and cheek filler injections. A black editor commented, "Jermaine looks like a different version of himself, as if he has been pushed out of his past and cannot return." Jermaine rarely responds to rumors. He still performs, still appears, but the feeling of being himself is no longer there. Some believe he has changed to compete with the legends in his family. Others think it is a desperate effort to cling to the spotlight. We do not know if he regrets it. But it is clear that the invisible scars of that change have left a lasting mark, not only on his face, but also in the hearts of fans and the history of the entertainment industry. Sometimes the scariest thing is not aging, but when a person no longer recognizes themselves. It's hard to believe that you are still here sharing these painful and regretful stories. There are faces that were once iconic now turned into mysteries that no one dares to inquire about. But in the end, what do you think is more brutal, a scalpel or the gaze of the audience when they are no longer satisfied with the true appearance of a black person? Janet Hubert was once America's beloved black mother through her role as Vivian Banks in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was intelligent, strict, but also full of love, a quintessential image of a black woman on screen. However, behind that glamour was isolation and pain from a wounded sense of self-esteem. After abruptly leaving the show, Janet nearly vanished from television. Many years later, when she made her comeback, the public was shocked by her new appearance. A smooth forehead, a stiff face, and a smile lacking the gentleness of days gone by. Rumors about Botox and brow lifts quickly spread. A former colleague revealed that Janet has always been obsessed with aging in public, especially after all that she has lost. The fans' reactions are sharply divided. Some empathize, but many say she is no longer Vivian. In a rare interview, Janet candidly shared, "If you are hurt long enough, you will do anything to feel strong, even change your entire face." That new face helped Janet reconnect with the audience, but at the same time it became a symbol of what Black women have to sacrifice to survive in the entertainment industry. No one can deny that Janet lost something, but she also regained a part of her voice. And perhaps what is most memorable about her is not the cosmetic marks, but the strength of a woman who refuses to be erased. Diana Ross is an irreplaceable icon. As the lead singer of the Supremes and a pioneering star who broke racial barriers on American television, she has inspired millions. But along with the glamour comes the pressure to maintain an unchanging appearance. Since the 1980s, audiences have begun to notice changes: larger eyes, a slimmer nose, fuller cheeks. A makeup artist revealed, "Every time we meet her, we have to adjust everything, because she doesn't look the same as she did 3 months ago." Although she has never confirmed it, rumors about cosmetic surgery have surrounded her for decades. Fans feel confused. Diana is still beautiful, still full of charisma, but there is also something distant about her. A loyal audience member shared, "I love her, but every time I look back at old photos, I feel regret." She once had a beauty that was so unique, she didn't need to resemble anyone. Perhaps the pressure to maintain the image of an immortal goddess has pushed Diana into a cycle of constant change. Her face has become a mystery, a question without an answer. But one thing is certain: each time she appears, her gaze still holds something that time and surgery cannot erase. And perhaps it is this that has kept Diana Ross alive in the hearts of the public. Not because she hasn't changed, but because despite the changes, she remains an undeniable icon. Natalie Cole was born in the spotlight, the daughter of the legendary Nat King Cole, who carried a tremendous musical legacy. But along with that legacy came an unrelenting pressure. Natalie had to fight not only against addiction, but also against the overwhelming shadow of her father. When she won a Grammy and proved her own talent, many believed she had found herself. But then her face began to change. By the end of the 1990s, her nose became slimmer, her cheekbones higher, and her chin sharper. A person who interviewed her said, "She is very beautiful, but also quite sad. It's as if she is trying to prove something." Rumors began to spread that she had undergone surgery to distance herself from her father's image. Public reaction was divided. Some believed it was a personal choice, while others lamented her previous natural and authentic appearance. After she passed away in 2015, many people remembered not only her music, but also her painful personal journey, a journey of constantly searching for identity. Natalie once sang, "This will be an everlasting love with a smile." Perhaps that very smile was also a part of the mask she used to hide her dissatisfaction with herself. But what ultimately remains is not the cheekbones or the nose, but the relentless effort to become herself, even though that path is filled with scars. Stephanie Mills is one of the most emotionally powerful Black voices of the 20th century. She once brought audiences to tears in The Wiz, yet she has always been underestimated because of her appearance. From a young age, Stephanie was considered too small and not beautiful enough by Hollywood standards. As she turned 30, audiences began to notice significant changes. Her once prominent nose became smaller, her chin more defined, and her features softer. A member of her recording team admitted no one asked, but everyone noticed. The audience buzzed. Some praised her radiant appearance, while others lamented the loss of her once iconic nose. An article once referred to her as a true black woman, but now many wonder if she sacrificed that for acceptance. A critic wrote Stephanie just wants to be seen like everyone else, a seemingly simple desire that is fraught with pain in this industry. Her transformation is no longer a choice, but rather a plea for survival. She is not seeking perfection, only presence. And what is most heartbreaking is not the new nose, but the price of being recognized, a price that black women seem to always have to pay with their very faces. Lionel Richie, the man with the warm voice who makes the whole world smile with timeless love, songs like Hello and Endless Love, is not exempt from scrutiny. Over the decades, he has maintained his performance, but his face has become increasingly intriguing. By the early 2000s, Lionel's skin seemed almost wrinkle-free, his cheekbones became rigid, and his features sharp to the point of being unnatural. The public began to whisper, what has he done to maintain his youthful appearance? Although Lionel has never publicly admitted it, the images over the years seem to tell the story themselves. A fan commented, "I love his singing, but his face now makes it hard for me to feel the emotion." Lionel still performs, still smiles, but at times that smile looks forced, as if he is trying to hold on to something that has passed. Although the change helps him maintain his image on television and stage, many still wonder what has made an artist who once touched the hearts of millions feel the need to change his own face. The answer may not lie in surgery, but in the fear of being forgotten. And it is this that has turned Lionel, who always makes others feel warm, into an image that is both familiar and strange, as if he is living in a mask of his own making. Rumors about Botox and facelift surgery are rampant in the media. A close colleague recalled, "He once said, if I grow old, they will call me outdated. If I maintain a youthful appearance, they will say I am not real." The public is divided. Some people see him as youthful, while others feel he is distant. A middle-aged fan said, "That smile lacks emotion. It's still there, but it's not vibrant." Lionel continues to sing, perform, and succeed. But that face raises a bigger question. In this entertainment industry, are only black people who maintain a youthful appearance loved? And when we are not allowed to age, do we still remain ourselves? Whitney Houston was the standard of beauty and talent for black women for nearly 3 decades. With her angelic voice and delicate features, she was the perfect symbol of grace and success. But that very perfection also became a chain that bound her. From the mid-90s, Whitney's appearance began to change noticeably. Her nose became smaller, her eyelids opened wider, and her cheekbones appeared unusually full. Rumors about nose fillers and eyelid surgery quickly spread. A former studio employee recalled, "They told her, Whitney, you can't look tired." This expectation pushed Whitney to her limits, leading her to seek out ways to change her appearance, even though she already possessed natural beauty. The public was divided. Some defended her, saying, "She maintains her beauty for us," while others could only sigh and regret. "That's not the Whitney I used to cry over." A nameless cosmetic surgeon candidly stated she doesn't need to do anything at all. But in the entertainment industry, sometimes you don't have a choice. Whitney became a symbol not only of talent but also of sacrifice. Her death in 2012 shocked the world and served as a warning that beauty should not suffocate the soul of a person. Whitney's legacy lies not in her full cheeks or perfect nose, but in the courage to live authentically in a world that does not accept fragility. Whitney Houston is one of the greatest legendary voices of the 20th century known worldwide, not only for her powerful voice and exquisite technique, but also for her ability to convey genuine emotions through every song. With classic hits like I Will Always Love You, Greatest Love of All, and How Will I Know? Whitney has left an indelible mark on music history and has become a cultural icon for many generations. However, behind the dazzling stage lights and her brilliant career, Whitney also faced immense pressure regarding her appearance, especially in an industry where beauty is always prioritized, particularly for female artists. Rumors about Whitney having undergone some minor cosmetic procedures to maintain her youthful look and perfection on stage have surfaced many times, although she has never publicly confirmed them. These small changes helped her maintain a perfect image in the eyes of the public and inspired millions of fans. In addition to the challenges regarding her appearance, Whitney's life was filled with turmoil as she had to fight through difficulties in her personal life, especially her battle with addiction and the pressures of fame. Nevertheless, her talent and voice remained an invaluable gift, serving as an endless source of inspiration for those who love music and believe in the power of perseverance. Whitney Houston's story is not just the journey of a music diva, but also a testament to the challenges that many artists, especially Black women, face in maintaining a perfect public image. Despite undergoing changes in appearance and life challenges, Whitney remains an immortal music icon with a brave heart and a timeless voice. Donna Summer was the voice of a generation, the queen of disco, who brought the music nights of the 70s to a dazzling peak. But as the late 80s approached, what people talked about was not just the changing tastes in music, but the face of Donna herself. A stylist who worked on the video, This Time I Know It's For Real, recounted. When she walked into the room, everyone fell silent. Higher cheekbones, a smaller nose, a refined chin. She looked elegant, but she was no longer the Donna we once knew. Rumors about plastic surgery spread, and the public's reaction was not very gentle. Some said she was cold and distant. Others believed she was trying to fit in with the white pop image of that era. Donna neither confirmed nor denied it. She remained silent and continued to perform. A fan once asked, "If she doesn't change, will she still hold the spotlight?" That question was never answered. What remains is not the shape of the nose or chin, but the image of a Black woman who had to adjust herself, both in music and appearance, to meet the expectations of a world that has never truly welcomed difference. Donna Summer is a testament to a beauty that has been censored and a voice that still strives to be heard despite being stifled by the harsh gaze of the market. Tina Turner is the embodiment of strength and resilience, a woman who dared to rise from the ashes, reinvent herself, and become one of the greatest stage icons of all time. But even an icon like Tina is not immune to the pressure of appearance. In a 1996 interview, she candidly shared that she had eyelid surgery. The reason was not for beauty, but to ensure that the stage lights reflected better. The lights no longer illuminated my face as they used to. I had to do something, she told a lighting assistant. After the minor surgery, Tina's face looked younger, but also somewhat unfamiliar. The public began to gossip. Why would such a strong icon need to change? Is it possible that aging frightens Tina just like it does other artists? But Tina did not shy away. She continued to perform with an indomitable spirit, as if to say, "I may change on the outside, but I am still me." Tina's story is not about the small scar on her eyelid, but about the choice to continue shining or to accept being forgotten. In a world that prioritizes youth over talent, even the strongest individuals sometimes have to compromise. But it is this honesty and lack of concealment that has made Tina Turner irreplaceable, not because she is unchanging, but because she dares to face change with courage. A journalist wrote, "When even Tina needs to be edited, who dares to age in public?" This seemingly trivial story of Tina has become a prime example of the pressure weighing on women, especially Black women in the entertainment industry. They must always maintain a youthful, perfect appearance regardless of age or the marks left by time. Tina has never complained or justified her decision. It is her silence that has made the audience admire and respect her even more. Her story is not just about a cosmetic surgery, but also a profound reminder of the silent battles that many women face. Sometimes a small cut on the eyelid can be the deepest cut to the self-esteem of a woman who has spent her entire life struggling and rising up. The song emphasizes that societal pressure and expectations of beauty can affect anyone, even the strongest women. Prince was a pioneering artist, someone who constantly broke the boundaries of music and social norms. His face and style continuously changed, leaving many fans bewildered. A stylist who worked with him revealed that Prince seemed to alter his facial structure every year: higher cheekbones, a smaller nose, a more refined jawline. These changes were not just about clothing or hairstyles. It seemed that each year brought a completely new appearance. He never publicly confirmed or explained it. His silence in the face of speculation and judgment only raised more questions. Does he hate his natural Black face, or is he trying to create a symbol that transcends all gender and racial norms? Instead of an explanation, Prince let his music speak for him, creating a space where he could freely express himself without needing to change or justify. Prince's story serves as a reminder to society. We often impose standards on individuals, especially those who are famous. Looking back at his journey of body transformation, we cannot help but question the right to be oneself, regardless of the pressures from the outside. Sometimes the hardest thing is not becoming someone else, but being allowed to be oneself in a world full of judgment. Janet Jackson has been a symbol of both gentleness and assertiveness. However, over the decades, her face has changed noticeably. Her eyes are larger, her nose is slimmer, and her chin is smaller. An anonymous stylist shared that Janet is the only one who never looks in the mirror before going on stage, and although nothing has been confirmed every time she appears, the audience often falls silent. An older fan shared, "I still love that voice, but I no longer recognize her." The question arises is Janet struggling under the enormous shadow of the Jackson family, or is it the audience placing too many expectations on her? Janet continues to sing and smile, but on the surface she seems to have become a mask, beautiful, cold, and distant. The more beautiful she is, the lonelier she feels. Under the stage lights, Janet remains an undeniable star with powerful choreography and vibrant music. But behind that glamour lies another story. It is said that every time Janet enters the studio, she brings with her the obsession to surpass the shadow of Michael, the shadow of herself. Songs like Rhythm Nation and Control are not just music, they are a manifesto of someone seeking freedom amidst expectations and identity. However, the increasingly perfect face resembles a flight from oneself, where every feature becomes armor against the world's judgment. The audience, once adoring her, is now divided. One side still worships Janet as the immortal icon of the 80s and 90s, while the other whispers about the unfamiliar features. One fan wrote, "Janet was already perfect." But for Janet, perfection is not just a choice, it is a requirement. In an industry that scrutinizes every second, she chose to create a new version of herself, not to please the audience, but to protect her heart from invisible wounds. Janet Jackson is still here, a legendary artist with a heart full of scars. She still sings, still shines, but in those eyes seems to be an unspoken sadness. Her life is proof that many artists do not change because they want to, but because they are forced to live in a mold that is not meant for them. Perhaps the most important thing to note is not how they have changed, but why they felt compelled to do so. Every face that has changed, every smile that has become stiff, reflects a heartbreaking truth. The brutal expectations of the public and the entertainment industry have made many Black artists feel that they are not enough to be loved for who they are. They do not undergo surgery to become someone else, but to maintain the spotlight that is gradually fading. And if there is one thing to remember, it is that we do not have the right to judge the choices of others. When society itself has made them believe that appearance is more important than identity. Thank you for listening until this moment. If you feel the loneliness behind the glory, please leave a comment and share your thoughts. For understanding is the greatest gift for those who have silently sacrificed. Like, subscribe, and share this video if you believe that beauty does not lie in the face, but in the journey they have bravely overcome.